3 series, but the 3rd game is the one won by the other team. So these best of 5s really, really weed out all of those intense moments, the jitters, the nerves, and you got to put it all on the field here.
Yeah, LMQ not willing to deal with the Syndra whatsoever.
Yeah, again.
Banning it on both sides of the rift, as you could say. Darius doesn't want to deal with Nidalee on either side, so I feel like those 2 bans will remain static throughout the series.
It was amazing on your screen.
Okay.
Zilean goes out.
They waited till the very end of that ban timer. I thought maybe they didn't ban, but yeah, interesting actually how they just decided to ban the Zilean instead of going for it themselves. One thing Loco said in his vlog after the quarterfinals was Lustboy was just able to play Nami the entire time, but he had another support train that is even better, is what he said.
Right.
A lot of people just thought that was Alistair, who has been consistently banned, but there's a chance he has something else. Fairly similar bans this game, it only changes the Maokai. First Rise.
They say, how do you like this? Look familiar? Picking up the Rise, may just be a Lucian. What support do they want? We had a Thresh banned out by Team Solo Mid last time here, so maybe actually picked up by Lustboy. Or I'm sorry, by LMQ.
We sure the teams switch sides? These are the same blue side, red side picks as the last game. First pick Rise. In similar shoes, TSM picked Lucian Nami with their first red side picks here. They have hovered to Lucian, but Nunu is available. That's a big one.
That's what LMQ did in some of the first week of the LCS was bring out this Nunu, and then he just lived in your jungle. And he probably will. Amazing's not going to have a fun time.
A lot of it is just about soaking damage, something Nunu does better than almost any jungler here. Lee Sin is up, though, if Amazing wants to break that guy out. I mean, if TSM really wanted to, they have the ability to just go Lee Sin Yasuo, just like LMQ did in the last match, and they would still be pretty comfortable with Bjergsen's Yasuo play and Amazing's Lee Sin.
Yeah. Amazing was able to get those kicks so well known for, and he actually will go ahead and lock that in. Bjergsen's still waiting. It looks like they are just going to be able to get the Nami. Obviously, leaving that up to see what LMQ can put into their fight prowess. Right now, they just have a lot of control over objectives.
Yeah, 6 playoff games in a row. They've gone with that Nami. And this is a blind Yasuo pick. They don't know if they're going against a Rise or if they're going against whatever else Bjergsen decides to pick against it. Just showing Xiao is willing to do that whenever, wherever.
I think that's such a good strategy in a best of 5 series that if you can and you're very confident, just pick it. You're not revealing anything else. If they do lose this, maybe it'll be next game, but he played an amazing farm game, an amazing mid lane game.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Would be the old saying.
Yeah, that's true. Good way to put it, Chad. Not gonna be stealing out the Triss. That'll definitely not help, actually.
Yo, Lucian is already
in first pick.
Kog'Maw is just kind of sitting by the wayside. They need a little bit more mobility against the Yasuo. I wonder if they go for those locks.
The Thresh Nunu as well coming out from LMQ. Talk a little bit about that, getting the deep wards in, Lantern out for safety towards that mid game when you're trying to gain more control.
LMQ would run the risk of not having enough damage here unless they pick a very heavily damaging top laner. Thresh and Nunu are usually right at the bottom of the champion damage charts. So there would be a little bit of a threat here, especially with Rise already being taken away. There is a chance LMQ doesn't do damage here. They might have to win this one early based on this team comp. It would be a good early game, or more of a mid-game team comp for LMQ if they can get the Mundo really tanky and then run through TSM. Just kind of the safe top laner to mimic the matchup that was played in the last match, just with different players demanding the same champions.
Hoping Darius can hold steady in that top lane against the Rise. We've heard them tell him multiple times, don't worry about getting the first pick to perform, play consistent, keep your head in the game. Don't think you have to do anything crazy because you're getting that pick. Obviously the Rise, easy one for a first flex pick, and they keep it on to Darius. Been playing quite well, has definitely not had the best time in their 4 matches against Ackerman, but a 4-0 is going to present those type of stats. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The teams are locked in. We're ready. It's going to be an Orianna versus Xiao in the mid lane this time. We'll have to see how they kind of react to that one. Bjergsen really wanting to come out on top of this time, hoping that protection for the late game for a Trist. But like you said, early game LMQ, and they almost had it last game.
The Orianna is a definite upgrade in the lane against Yasuo as far as being able to keep up and farm. So we'll really get to see if Xiao can maintain that CS advantage he had from the first game in game 2, and then get pressure to mimic itself throughout the map.
All right, remember to keep casting your vote by using a hashtag TSM win or LMQ win. We'll see where the fan vote stands as we head into game 2. And it's going to be an amazing one as well. We see more here on the end with Vasily getting himself prepared. More in their 4 games versus Team Solo Mid, has 48 in the regular season of their 67 kills against Team Solo Mid. He's everywhere, participating. Like I said, that bottom lane has such good kill participation, and we saw No Name wanted to get that off the bat last game instantly.
One of the big focuses, even though we were focused on the mid lane last game, was the bottom lane. How, at least in the laning phase, Vasily and Moore were destroying a little bit. They were aided by that early gank from No Name, but they continued that through later on, picking up a 2v2 kill, and we saw what a monster Vasily was at the end of the game because of that laning phase.
So here we go, back on to the Rift for game 2. TSM now going to try their hand out of the blue side. Sweeper Ward Nunu for No Name, as usual, making sure he can start and shut down some early vision. We have Blue Crystal coming in for Dyrus, a little bit more damage in the lane, and easy, safe healing for Ackerman. So pretty much generic around the board. Nothing too crazy. Let's see how they try to work these early wards from No Name.
The big thing that No Name wants to do in this matchup is not so much gank as just prevent Amazing from having an impact. Nunu wants to be as big of an annoyance as possible, and then just be a damage soak later on in the game. Kind of make you so mad at Nunu that you try and kill him, because max consume Nunu doesn't really do anything as far as damage. He becomes really tanky, he farms really quickly, and he denies you a lot of experience, but you can't really push him out of where he wants to go. So he gains advantages through vision and through objective control.
LMQ loves doing that. Early game control for them means early game objectives. And they are no stranger to 20-minute Barons, as we have seen before. So far, setting up towards the bottom side. They know Ackerman's down here, though, so they're going to be privy to a possible swap. But this is going to be a big, big invade. Oh, man.
Yeah. They're all stacked up on top of each other here. Xiao in the flank. I mean, Bjergsen could skill up his Q and throw it in, but he actually skilled the shield first. He spotted him.
He definitely spotted more than just a few. That knowledge is given, and it looks like they're going to maybe try to push the lane. There were pings down towards the bottom side. Those came from the TSM. Let's see if they try to freeze and push that one for Wild Turtle and Lost Boy. Not having to work against the zillion bombs this time. They might have a little better time with that sustain being really able to stick on the Wild Turtle.
Yeah, forcing TSM into the swap in the jungle as well. Making a little bit of a delayed start by Amazing, which will secure No Name being a little bit ahead of Lee Sin for now, which as far as the general annoyance goes is a win for Nunu.
Early game. Some say you can get in the head of Vasily. Really get his plays. He always does certain things, dodges certain ways. That's all on doing your homework.
One thing about Vasily is he is just forever aggressive.
Yeah.
We were talking to Crepo a little bit about bottom lane matchups because he has so much experience against these bottom lanes. And most players, when they're dodging skill shots, the example was a Thresh Hook, but a bubble can be used here. They will either juke sideways or backwards just to avoid the jukes. But Vasily, more often than not, will juke towards you. Meaning if you miss, he can trade very aggressively, but if you hit him, it basically just kills him. So it's a very risky style that often pays off for Vasily, and it's something you have to adjust to when playing against Vasily as opposed to a different AD carry.
Let's see if we take advantage of any of this. Already trying to be up in the face of TSM under the turret. Nice little light bindings to get Sparm and harass in onto Wild Turtle. Amazing. Trying to give Xiao a little bit of harass, or at least something else to think about.
Oh no.
Hard to get, oh dear, Dyrus in the top lane still has his flash, but he's too far away. He's already super slowed on this one, and he had to waltz around the minions. Good focus, top lane. Dyrus goes down, first blood.
So a lot of people will look at that gank and say, what is Dyrus doing? How could he be pushed up in 3 minutes and 30 seconds without a ward? And how the top lane gank at 3.5 minutes is like the most common thing in solo queue.
Right.
But it was actually really unexpected for No Name to be there. If we think about where they started in the jungle, No Name took the 2 buffs from the complete opposite side of the map.
Right.
It was such an inefficient gank for No Name to run all the way through that river, somehow evade wards and make it in there, but he did it, and he caught Dyrus completely by surprise for that first blood.
We were not expecting that to be coming in anytime soon, but again, LMQ gives themselves a little snowball to roll down the hill. Let's see if they can keep it. Xiao feeling a bit of pressure here, maybe a little bit from Bjergsen. He wants to dodge that damage out, and he is using those clockwork wind-up passive auto attacks to get that HP down. Definitely a better pick for the Orianna in mid lane here.
Yeah, keeping up with CS just fine. The Xiao. However, the No Name jungle could become a pretty big problem. The fact that he was able to get that first blood gave him a 4.5 minute sight stone. So he can litter the map with wards now.
Right.
And the second someone gets a little bit aggressive, they'll go. He's actually maxing his Ice Blast as well, so he's a little bit more about lane presence.
Just saying, here I am.
Yeah. Or that. Or he's just gonna farm.
Very interesting.
This is a lane tax if I've ever seen one.
This is a paycheck.
Yeah. They're just trying to shove Bjergsen in. I think Xiao wants to shop, but he didn't want to lose a wave.
Wow.
That's one of those times where the mid laner calls the jungle over and says, let's shove it.
And look at,
now he's level 5.
Still stayed up in the majority of CS, 5-4 here. It's going to be a slow, gets that Sonic Wave, the Resonating Strike to keep it, but he cannot keep up with the Blood Boil this early in the game. So a little back and forth, junglers know where each other are. It's going to relieve a bit of pressure, but a little mid-game games.
And I was mistaken on the Nunu skill order, actually. No Name has decided to go with Max Ice Blast Nunu this game, which is the classic Nunu build. The Max Consume is something that has become a trend lately. This gives No Name a lower amount of objective control, but better dueling capabilities. Maybe it's because he's ahead, or it's just the way he plays. Dexter also does Max Ice Blast Nunu. So it's not like it's a wrong choice, it's just a different choice.
Been pretty omnipresent so far.
He's been everywhere.
Let's see, he tries to get in the face of Amazing once again. He is keeping complete tabs right now. Great wards going down, Amazing filtering through that one, and it's going to be known.
Reginald trying to play the mental mind games with his own team.
Bam.
You're like, actually guys, playoffs was canceled today, but we got some scrims lined up with LMQ.
That doesn't mean you can give up first blood though.
You gotta play fast and loose.
Still gotta play strong. Ooh! Dyrus getting some good damage there in the top lane. Traded back almost by a cleaver that just misses. So he's gonna have a little bit of fun for himself. Coming back with that tier. Give him a bit of an upper hand. Ackerman will be back. Teleport to use there. Pings in the bottom lane. A little insecure about what's going on down there. Let's say we don't see mid. We also don't have that correct ward. It was pink cleared, so be careful. Let's see, everybody's got eyes on the map for bot lane. LMQ.
No Name with really good vision control early. This will be the silent battle that goes on in this game. Who has the vision and how that affects the lanes? Because we'll see the CS numbers, but a lot of it will have to do based on the work of No Name and Amazing. Amazing trying to get Spirit of the Elder Lizard as quickly as possible, whereas No Name has just rushed that Sight Stone straight off the bat.
And he's not afraid to show himself every time either. He's all about the ward clears. If they see him, so what? His ganks have actually worked every time he's been into lane or really pushed for LMQ's favor. Ackerman trying to get some deep wards as well. They are on the ball with these. And look, they have pinks all across their side, so TSM is not getting in for any forward wards of their own. It's
very difficult, if not impossible, for TSM to make aggressive moves right now. Just because there are 5, if you count them, normal wards within TSM's jungle territory. Everywhere they decide to go will be knowledge into LMQ. So LMQ actually has the ability to set up all of their plays and avoid the TSM plays right now. So unless TSM is making 1v1 plays in lanes that do not require vision advantage, they can't do anything right now.
Well, Bjergsen is doing a lot better against Xiao in the mid lane here, and on probably a higher main champion that he usually plays out in the solo queue or even professional play. So no fizz this time for him. He's doing quite well on a tier stack, actually, with the rest of the team for that late game.
Interesting. So a lot of times when Oriannas play against an AD mid, they will go tier into Seekers and then maybe even a Morellonomicon for a different type of power spike instead of a straight team's death cap. It's just so if he does get caught up in a Yasuo combo, he doesn't die once he gets the Seekers.
Right. It would be a perfect build as well for the Mundo. Being able to shut down Ackerman's health regen with the Morellonomicon would be super good towards that late game.
Serves two purposes right there.
Just a 600 gold lead here. Might even be on these wards.
A little bit of that is true. I mean, if we look at combat effectiveness, the Sightstone isn't giving No Name very much of that. If they were to collide for a team fight right now, it would be very close. If TSM could somehow get a Dragon despite the vision control of LMQ, it would be a huge win. Dyrus has walked down and they know they have the teleport advantage. They're actually going to be able to get this.
Very nice rotation. This one coming from most likely Bjergsen in mid lane as he's feeling a lot better in this matchup, and they are able to just do this right in front of LMQ. No contest there. TSM comes out a lot stronger here in game one. That Dragon helps from that first blood.
That was legitimately a brilliant move by TSM, considering everything LMQ had invested was into vision control. To actually get Dyrus down there without being spotted, knowing that Ackerman had burned his teleport, gives them such an edge. Everything LMQ invested in vision control is for nothing at that point.
That's
because
so true.
The major objective is gone.
All those wards, all the movement No Name has been doing, just kind of walk through. They'll still be able to use them, but that was good on TSM. They did not try to fight. That's what we said they could do. They could try to make moves, but as a team, yeah, they could do something.
They had to make plays that did not rely on vision.
Exactly.
And just walking your entire team down to Dragon and taking it doesn't necessarily need vision control, as long as the other team can't match you.
All right, so power and numbers here for Team Solo Mid, and the Morellonomicon finished up 10 minutes here. Nice little spike as he keeps getting the mana he requires to be in lane.
Hasn't even gone for the Seekers.
No, that's true. Well, Xiao as well, Avarice on his side, money. So he'll be getting some attack crits in, but not as much. Really going for the farm game himself. Whoa, flashes the shockwave. That'll be a win on cooldowns.
Yeah. It's actually rather interesting having this discussion yesterday. Shockwave is the spell that you always wish you would have flashed later. You see it coming, and you think, maybe I can just take this one. I'm going to save my flash. And then half the time, then you're slowed, and then there's a jungler there, and then they kill you. So Xiao erring on the side of caution.
Yeah.
Despite having fairly good ward control, and should have known that Lee Sin wasn't necessarily there, keeping his farm-based strategy, he actually gained about 250 gold from that Avarice Blade before upgrading, which, because of the Dragon that was taken by TSM, kept him even with Bjergsen.
Very interesting play. Xiao really considering lots and lots within the game and not just going on what's going on in his lane itself. 16.4 to 17.3 with the Dragon. TSM picks up a bit more gold, and that turret in the bottom lane helps to open up the map. Ackerman hasn't been giving Dyrus too much trouble, and looks like he's got enough magic resistance now to keep with Dyrus in this lane, so Dyrus can't give him too much either. Good dodges, though.
Yeah,
Dyrus
even with that first blood from Dyrus, it didn't become a recurring thing. Dyrus didn't try and burn his flash to get away, so he didn't create an easy opportunity for himself to get camped. He also had a monstrous minion wave, which was not freezable by LMQ, to make it so that lane was a farmable entity throughout. This has been such a solid early game from TSM. It's actually a complete reversal from game one. They're taking the punches from LMQ and then returning in very smart ways. The only thing Amazing has tried to do was that bottom lane shove. The things he's doing are with knowledge that LMQ sees him. So he's either running through vision or running through places where LMQ simply can't ward, like all the way through bottom lane to set up that turret push.
Here's a little brush control. No Name's going to try and get what he can out of this with the team. This would be huge for Vasily to pick up a kill. This is the first time we've really seen LMQ's bottom lane not have an upper hand in the early part of the game. Ooh, sushi for dinner tonight. Plus boy goes down.
2 for 2 on those bottom lane plays is LMQ. They had some pink ward control running into their brush, so they knew that No Name would not be there. And it was just a really tricky thing for Lustboy to get in there with.
back and forth in this top lane. But TSM is doing a really good job at kind of stalling out LMQ, wanting everything in the early game and being able to get power spikes at the right time. They're still on track to do a bit of that, but Amazing wants to help shut it down here in the top lane.
Would have to flash kick.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew they had the ultimate
doesn't
down.
have enough mana right now to be doing this with the team.
Yeah.
The kickback wouldn't have got the Room Prison damage necessary.
Amazing did flash for that as well. That was a pretty big miscommunication, honestly. Amazing thinking they could go for the kill, and Dyrus just not having the mana.
They're attempting. Bit of a flubber there. We'll see if they can get it back into control. Not something that's really going to play on their mentality too much. Unsuccessful ganks are just something you got to try again. See the Infinity Edge already at 14.5 minutes for Vasily. Those passive shots are really what he's counting on to strike.
Vision control has been lost in this bottom lane as well. It's really affecting the ability for Wild Turtle to farm here. Additionally, Xiao picked up LMQ's own red buff, which may prompt some split pushing or even just more threat in the mid lane. LMQ just continuing to try and play this Vision game. They lost a few mini fights with the Dragon and the bottom turrets, but they definitely gained something back when they caught Lust Boy. Now the added denial. What's TSM going to do to counter that? It looks like they're grouping mid.
Ooh, Dyrus is going to cut off No Name here a little bit. I actually see No Name. He had to walk down there. The rest of the team's going to be coming up to him. He knew he had enough time to just get that Vision down. Slow movement from the rest of the team, but it looks like they are going to gather mid, as you were saying, as Vasily and more take control of top lane here.
They're going to try a turret trade right here. You can see LMQ has invested in the top lane. TSM sending everyone in the mid lane. They have a minion wave as well.
Ooh, that's already warmed up very nicely, so they could be getting a little bit more out of this. Oh, it goes past the wall. They're able to get it on Xiao. They still got the Buster shot to close this one out, and that goes to the young Wild Turtle.
It's funny, Riv. You always wish you would have flashed the shockwave until you don't have your flash up for the next one. That was a great move there by Bjergsen to finish off Xiao, and they can continue this push in the mid lane as long as the minions hold up.
LMQ scattering a little bit. Bjergsen playing very well, throwing out the damage in the mid lane.
Just in time for the Dragon as well. They have the on-the-way pings, but they did burn multiple critical cooldowns in that last fight. Xiao will be rezzing and trying to make it out, but they're going for the catches.
Wow, indeed they're going for the catches. A little hop from Wild Turtle, able to get the slow on to get that kill going down for Amazing, and it looks like they're now headed for Dragon. Definitely a different game for game 2.
So many TSM fans in the crowd trying to cheer him on here. So much healing reduction also built into the TSM team. The Morellonomicon, the explosive shot from the Tristana, and they just made short work of Ackerman's Mundo, thinking he was going to be able to bully his way in there for some vision control. Instead of going straight for the Dragon, TSM set a quick trap, capitalized, and got both.
How much gold is on the map in wards right now? 4 sight stones across. Everybody's still buying wards, and Amazing put that right in his inventory as soon as he got that item finished. He knew he needed to stop whatever kind of thing No Name was putting together with that vision.
LMQ had a big edge in vision early on in the game, but now TSM has matched that. They just did it in a different fashion. So Amazing went jungle item first, then Sightstone. No Name did the other way around. So now they're actually pretty equivalent in terms of power, except Amazing could farm more because A, he knew he had a bunch of vision on him early, and B, because he went for the damage for faster farming.
Love 17-minute games. We're rewarding up Baron because it's such a possibility. So good. Amazing. They're not whites. They have good control over their jungle and no need to be in it. TSM jungle completely clear of camps. They got to make a move.
Well, now becomes the time for Xiao to begin his Yasuo split pushing. Whether or not Dyrus can deal with that will be really tricky. No armor on the Rise, just a whole bunch of upfront damage. That'll decide a lot, actually, because TSM's trying to take turret after turret with this Trist.
Nice Dark Passage coming out there, indeed. Going to the top lane, like he said, to get another turret back in their favor. Now 3-2. It's just the mid one that Bjergsen has been guarding right now for Team Solo Mid that stands. Xiao getting what he can, is he's absolutely going to have this bottom lane to himself, and the golems every time they spawn. See what kind of trouble Dyrus can give him here. Level 13 to 11 is not looking pretty.
If Dyrus can trade farm, that's all they need. But it will be a question about whether No Name can sneak down there or whether LMQ can lay any traps, because if Dyrus goes down, it's an entire side of map pressure that TSM would lose.
Right.
Still a really close game, just a much better early game from TSM when compared to game 1.
Dyrus also not with Tabis in that one either, up against the Mundo in the top lane. He did go treads, so he doesn't have any armor just yet on that Rise. He gets a little breathing room as Xiao goes back. LMQ starts to consider on their own side of the map what to do next. We see Blue back over to Bjergsen. What the move is going to be next? Seems like everything is slowed down quite a bit because nobody's really ready to do that Baron if it comes to it. You just want to get vision.
Yeah. Maybe even set some traps around that pit.
Right.
If Xiao is going to split push bottom, as long as Dyrus can stay safe, they will hold the teleport advantage over that, which is one of the ways they can force fights down here. How are they going to combo this?
Oh, that would have been nice into the bubble, but I think they were looking for way too much on that one.
Oh, that was so close!
Oh, he did. He actually got it. He locked down the shockwave within the death of Amazing. So lucky that didn't get pulled back to Bjergsen, but they made it work.
Barely did they make that work. Trading a jungler for an AD carry gold-wise is still equivalent, but map pressure-wise, it is a bit of a win for TSM. Amazing definitely went too early right there, and LMQ was laying in wait. But then they waited for a shockwave and got blown up.
This is what the TSM fans are looking for, though. These plays to be made. TSM not to be afraid to go in and make things happen. Amazing. He's been the one to do that in their past few games, and again, quite hard there with Lust Boy. See if they get themselves a little more controlled, though. They got really need for this.
I mean, look where the rest of TSM is right now. It's the support and a jungler trying to take on the world right here. Amazing gets, because he used his W to ward jump, he couldn't save himself right there, and just before the lander could come in, Bjergsen is able to finish that kill. He actually completed his Archangel Staff really early. So Bjergsen going for a lot of early ability power and a blue elixir already. So trying to get an early power spike here with a slightly unconventional build. He will hit an absurd amount of AP if he fits a death cap into that build. But the problem with that build is actually the inaccessibility of Void Staff. He's built two non-conventional items. Normally the Ori build would be death cap, Athenes, into Void Staff. But he already has the Archangels and the Rellenomicon, plus a component of Zanya's. So if he wants to go Death Cap Void, it just takes forever for him to complete that. It basically means he either forgoes Void Staff or forgoes Death Cap, and either one of those choices will result in a slightly lower max damage. At 4 items, he has to wait for 6 items to actually reach a real height of damage if the other team builds MR.
And you can see the game for Bjergsen a little bit better this time. Slower for Xiao. 1 minute ago, he had a Blade coming into this matchup, so it's definitely been a different game for LMQ across the board. The pressure from No Name only lasted so long in the early game. Still, Xiao is going to get his split push on. He has put himself in a strong enough position to continue this. Dyrus looks to be kind of milling about, getting everything he needs in base. He'll be walking down to the bottom lane, though. He's got the ping.
Dyrus successfully held off Xiao.
Yeah.
How much of a success that is hard to say. Rise farm versus Yasuo farm, they both scale very well. But considering Dyrus was behind at the time, it is a success for TSM.
Yeah, he didn't have armor.
The question is, since they've traded an under-farmed person for an over-farmed person, how is LMQ holding out 4v4? Because they've actually been holding off very well, and the gold is staying close.
Calling definitely proving useful in that aspect. Dragon in 8 seconds, so they want to make sure they get this vision down Jat. Look at Bjergsen. He does it on Syndra, now doing it on Orianna. He can be the single man to zone out an entire team while TSM gets an objective. Looks like they're going to go ahead and kind of save face on this one. They don't like all the vision that they have, but now they do. They got another ward down that says it's clear.
This will be so huge. Whether or not Moore can land a death sentence on the right target, or whether or not they can get some catches, and they've got a catch for 2.
Moore goes down. That's not even. Yes, it was a shockwave actually that locked them in, but they're going to be able to follow up. Another dissonant slow coming in. Beautiful move by Bjergsen to pull in the command protect and then throw out the kill.
LMQ actually thought about going for Dragon while TSM was rushing that, but Baron is the new name of the game. Still all of the damage dealers / carries alive for LMQ, just lacking in utility. It was a risky Baron last time. No smite. How fast can they get this? How quickly can they peel?
Well, they've definitely got themselves in the den, so it's going to be a pinch in here from LMQ. And this is what we talk about LMQ. They're not afraid with any amount of members.
They'll just run into fight.
Xiao very low. He's kind of pulled the pressure to himself, but he's also pulled death as well for the team. This is going to be shots still on the Baron. They're trying to keep it, and it's the smite coming in from Amazing. Beautiful job there by Team Solomid. LMQ doing what they can to try and stop it out.
TSM takes complete control of the game with that catch into Baron. They also get 2 kills out of the follow-up fight, and now they can just rotate down the way to Dragon because they have the Baron regen and the buff to push LMQ off of Dragon.
TSM coming out much stronger here in game 2 with their own 5,000 gold lead. LMQ was able to stretch that to 10K. We'll see if TSM can give them the same medicine. LMQ is not a team to just keel over and let this happen. Expect a comeback from both sides here. It's still going to be a tight game. We're only 25 minutes in.
Wow, No Name taking a risky little white right there. And yeah, you're right. LMQ is definitely not a team to go down without a fight.
See that again. Shockwave.
Yeah, catching 2 right there, right into the tidal wave. Leading safety for Wild Turtle to jump in, as well as the nice bubble catches from Lustboy. You could see they had the vision control up towards that funnel, whereas LMQ didn't actually have the right type of coverage there. And the blue elixir pays off there for Bjergsen.
It's the Zanyus too, Jet. Looks like it could be the Void Staff that goes right after that. We see the ability tome.
I mean, he's sitting at 504 AP without a death cap at the moment. Baron buff gives good AP as well as the Elixir of Brilliance. He's actually went back and bought another one, it looks like.
Xiao has not had time to build damage, so one of the highest damage forces of DPS coming out of them. He goes down instantly by just a dissonance and whatever. Shockwave will probably take him out with a ball move. So that's something they don't have to worry about, as well as Vasily. LMQ is going to have to come into these fights. I don't know, definitely spread out. Too much focus on one spot is just going to be Bjergsen command shockwaving everyone in. We haven't seen No Name even really get an absolute 0 because they haven't been in position to execute the fights themselves.
You're right about that. The distraction of Nunu hasn't really been that big of a distraction this game.
Yeah.
Just have worked around him very nicely. Wild Turtle, because the gold lead has reached a point of some pretty heavy damage. This could be a threat though. Darius has got to run. Can he dodge the tornado is a big question. Uh-oh.
Uses the Blade of the Rune King right away to get that initial damage down. Darius gonna go for the TP. Oh,
another one.
Get the third slash out. Darius goes down. TSM's on the top side though. That's gonna have to be a back from both No Name and Xiao.
You can see how cautious the Rise has to be in that split push matchup. They're back in base right now. TSM has to respect that.
They do. They start to back off. They also don't have too many wards just behind them, so you're going to see them plopping some down as they make their way out. So they know if LMQ is on the chase, they can get out accordingly. A Blood Boil team is going to be coming at you, but TSM stays for the party. Ackerman gets shockwaved in, but they're going to have to reset one more time. See Turtle and the team stepping back, and LMQ still wants into the fight. Whether they're slowed or not, they're trying everything, and they're trying their damnedest. Now they know they need to turn around. The bubble on the Xiao, the finisher from Bjergsen. You can see Vasily's damage is still something to be reckoned with, but they shut it down too early. 4 kills coming up for Team Solo Mid.
The damage from Bjergsen is just so ridiculously high 26 minutes into this game right now. They turned that around. 4v5, much to the chagrin of LMQ right there. Just not the way they wanted that one to turn out. 506 Bjergsen, 306 Turtle. The carries have the gold.
TSM definitely taking the early game right now, or even mid-game. They're keeping it pretty early here to LMQ. They have not had a chance to even bring their composition out and show what it's about. TSM's already taken down the inhibitors. They have an 11,000 gold lead this game. They're going to give LMQ a little bit of their own medicine.
This is pretty much a complete reversal of the first game. LMQ was looking for a 30-minute win, and then they almost lost the game on a turnaround here, and now TSM may actually get the 30-minute win with another fight.
Oh, Xiao going down. A very nicely used exhaust coming from Lustboy. Ackerman's on the front side. You got Wild Turtle with grievous wounds, as well as the Morello Namakan. Mundo's not healing. The inhibitor's gonna go down, and Team's Solo Mid, 14-4, 28 minutes. Already know they have the top side open. They're gonna go in on the Nexus turrets.
Hey, maybe TSM has won their first scrim on land against LMQ right here, because they have dominated LMQ. 15,000 gold lead, 28-minute win.
Beautiful job. Team Solo Mid takes game 2. A very happy TSM indeed. The fans cheering behind them. LMQ not really getting what they wanted out of that game. The early game started perfectly fine, but TSM didn't allow them to get the kills they needed. They didn't allow the pressure of the wards to get under their skin. They just laid out just as many wards.
A few critical adjustments were made by TSM in between games right there. An answer to the Yasuo.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we see an Orianna again? That was punishing, and it's safe in the mid lane. He can get to that point again. without having too much trouble. Or he's got escapes. She's got